Welcome back to the podcast. A few days late here. We are in Brighton today, and it is a travel day, actually. So I'm here for a conference called Thrive, and you do a classroom day. So everybody there's a few speakers here. We all talk about a thing, and then the next day we all go out and we do shoots, and they were a lot of fun. We got good weather, which is awesome, and Brighton is, at least the days that we haven't been shooting, has been a little tumultuous. So I am happy to report things worked out so far. Today is our travel day. We go to Glasgow and we do the conference again, basically. We do the same exact thing that we did here, but now in Scotland. And both of my talks are the same, and they're both about hybrid coverage. So I've just released a course. If you're a member, you have access to the course. If you're not, there are still, I think, 20 or 30 bundle deals available. It comes with a ton of bonuses, like $1,000 in bonuses, and as always, 100% money back guarantee. So if you're interested in hybrid coverage, try it. If it's not for you, just send me an email. I am Taylor@TaylorJacksonPhoto.com, and I'll send your money back, no problem. But so far, everybody's been very, very happy with the course. I tried to release this hybrid course, and I started doing a lot of videos on hybrid coverage maybe in 2016, 2017, 2018, and it didn't really seem to go over that well. I think maybe it was a little bit too soon, or maybe technology and everyone didn't have kind of the right cameras and understand the value of doing video. I think now it's kind of hit that critical mass, and there are a lot of use cases of photographers all around the world, including a ton in the UK, most in the US and Canada and Australia and all around the world, doing hybrid photo video coverage as one person or as a two-person team. So yourself and your second photographer that would usually come out to wedding day, you guys just take the pictures and do the videos. And it sounds crazy, but you basically just do the photos like you would normally do, and then you just record video clips. And I started doing this in about 2009, 2010. I started experimenting with it, and I started making kind of 1-minute little highlight features for my wedding couples, and they were a surprise. I wasn't charging money for them. Sometimes it didn't work out, so I didn't really want to take money for a thing that I didn't know I could deliver. Around 2012, 2013, technology kind of got to the point that it was a possible thing to do. So I started offering a 2 to 4 minute highlight, and it was usually around 2 minutes, 30 seconds. And for the most part, it never took anything away from my photography. I think that was always my goal, was to be able to do photography and video and to still maintain the same level of quality that I had with my photography and really just not sacrifice anything at all. So that was always my mindset until kind of this year. So this year, what changed is that I'm starting to get a lot of inquiries back in maybe June, July. So what that means is that I've actually kind of inverted the process. People hire me for a photography video knowing that I'm going to be a photographer first and a videographer second, but now they kind of want the video first. I think this decision by a lot of couples that are independent of one another, and the fact that I have never announced this service and I don't really offer this video first service, but the fact that so many different people are interested in it, it really makes me start to think that the video industry in weddings and the photography industry are starting to converge. And I would say that now is absolutely a time that you can get ahead of an industry trend. I definitely see that this is becoming it's just becoming technology is allowing us to do this a lot easier, that you can switch from photo to video faster, and your buffer hopefully clears faster with fast cards. But from a business and sales perspective, it seems to be something that is becoming increasingly more in demand. With my couple specifically, I'm a pretty introverted person, and I tend to attract a lot of introverted couples that are like, the first sentence is always like, we're very uncomfortable in front of the camera, please help us. And that's something I hear over and over and over and over again when I'm starting shoots or arriving at wedding days. And they do not desire to have a full video team there. So even if the quality of the final wedding film could be better, they would prefer the experience of their wedding day with just maybe myself and a second photographer, that's already enough out of their comfort zone, that they don't want to add another 2 people shooting video and 4 cameras or 5 cameras pointed at them all day. That's not something that my couples desire. And when they find out that I can do both photography and video, either as myself or as myself and a second, they are very, very quick to book. So looking back on my career, when I started offering this service officially, and I started doing photography, video, and I explained a little bit of how I do it within my promotional video. I think that's one of the main questions that I get from couples for sure, but also from photographers, like, how do you do both? And you literally just do both. There is a bit of a learning curve, and there are obviously a few things that you need to learn. You need to learn a little bit of video editing, but I think for editing highlight films, you use maybe 1 to 2% of the power of a program like Adobe Premiere or DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut, you don't really have to do a whole lot. You're basically just importing footage and cutting it up to be a music video. You don't have to introduce audio if you're not comfortable with that, and I definitely wouldn't recommend that in the first maybe year of doing these, that audio introduces a lot of other troubleshooting problems. There's actually, Adobe has this AI podcast software that you can actually use. It's online, so you basically just drag and drop your clip onto the website, and it will actually kick you out a very, very polished sounding file for audio. So you can actually do voice notes on your phone if you wanted. I'm recording this on a voice note right now on my phone, and you can put this up against the speaker and you can capture that audio. You can capture their vows, or maybe you can capture the part of their speech where they talk to each other. And all of a sudden, you're going to build a very nice highlight film with audio, but without the stress of putting lav mics on the officiant and getting some sort of XLR out of the board or a quarter inch out of the board and monitoring that, as well as also doing photography and video. So that's kind of the simplest way that I've found to go about that, and to introduce it kind of as a bonus at first. But be careful, because couples don't, some couples at least, some want to hear their voices, but some people are very self-conscious about hearing their voice. I think it's becoming less and less common now with social media that we all kind of like narrate over Instagram stories or whatever. So I feel like people are becoming a little bit more used to hearing their voice, but there are still couples that want music video only, that do not want any sort of their vows or anything in the wedding video, which might seem counterintuitive, but it's something that I've found to be true with a number of my couples. And I'll put a link to the hybrid course and the bundle down below, and get one of the first ones if you can, because it's a lot of awesome bonuses, including my LUTs, which are kind of like the presets for video, and they're basically built from my presets. So they're exactly what I would want my photography to look like, which is great, because now my video kind of looks exactly the same. And that was one of my big struggle points when I was first getting started in video, was that I was trying to color correct and make it kind of look like my photography, but I never really could. But now my LUTs match my photography and my life is good and happy. The other struggle is learning the software and the time that goes into that. And I would say after maybe 10 weddings and you're comfortable with the software, your editing comes down to maybe 2 or 3 hours. And if you've ever talked to a videographer or a cinematographer at a wedding, you realize that they're usually spending a heck of a lot more time than that. And I attribute that to the fact that they have multiple cameras going and there's just a lot of footage that they're jumping in between, as well as audio. When it comes to doing hybrid, you're fortunately kind of limited in the number of clips that you can take. So you're not coming home from a 4-hour or an 8-hour wedding day. We'll use an 8-hour wedding day as an example. You're not coming home from an 8-hour wedding day with like 16 hours of footage because you shot a main camera and you had another camera rolling all the time and maybe 2 backup cameras, and so you have lots of different angles, and you're not filming speeches with a main camera on whoever is speaking at the podium, as well as a camera on the couple, and as well as a camera floating around and getting reaction shots of parents. You're not doing that. You're doing everything on one camera, and it's basically the same as you would do your photography. It's all about just choosing the moments that are going to be video moments versus photography moments. There are some moments that happen one time, but there are very few of them. One is the first kiss, one is maybe a first look, and one I would also consider to be the introduction. So if a couple is being introduced into the room and hands are up and there's a lot of excitement, that's another time that kind of happens once. But everything else, for the most part, you can just quickly do the photo side of things and switch to video and just make it happen. You have to be more conscious of getting some transition shots, because photography, you can kind of slam cut in between different scenes and maybe one image of the exterior of a hotel or something. But for video, you need a little bit more than that, I think. It's not a whole lot. It's maybe 2 or 3 clips, but something with motion. When it comes to motion and camera movement, I am very rarely moving my camera, if ever. I'm pretty much setting up the photo that I want to take, rolling video on it, and letting the action happen within that video frame. So I'm not trying to do anything crazy. I'm certainly not on a gimbal. I do everything handheld. Now I have some tricks for doing both photography and video in a moment if you need to. You can either just start recording on a camera, so go with a wider lens on your second camera and flip that camera upside down and just shoot that as well. So you're holding your camera upside down, kind of the flat bottom of the camera up against the flat bottom of your main camera, doing main photography on your top camera, and you're rolling video slightly wider on the bottom camera. That way you have everything. You could also run a GoPro if it's a brighter ceremony. If it's a darker ceremony, or if it's in a church, don't run GoPro. Run whatever the second best camera you have. Or you can run one in your left hand, one in your right hand. Or the easier way is that you're probably hiring a second photographer. So for something like the first kiss, one of you does photography, one of you does video. And that's as simple as it is. You come home with a bunch of footage, but not as much as if you shot the entire day on video, and you put together a highlight. It doesn't take that long. My top package is a package that includes the ceremony coverage as well as speeches coverage. And I don't like doing that package because it's too much mental energy on the day. I'll also have a cinematographer as well as a second photographer that I trust. And I feel like I become almost a manager at that point. That, yeah, I'm still doing the family photos and some of the key moments, but for the most part, I'm just kind of delegating things and making sure nothing kind of blows up. So if you're interested in getting ahead of this industry trend, I think that it is something that you should absolutely be considering doing this year. Hybrid photography video actually legitimately doubled my business, and not only doubled it in terms of money, but also doubled it in terms of potential bookings. So if that sounds awesome to you, you can take all those bookings and you can do them. But if you would rather just make a little bit more money per wedding and work a little bit less, that's also a balance that you can strike with this as well. You'll also find that couples will be hiring you for video only days, that they've already booked their photographer, and they meet you 6 months later and they're like, oh, we already have a photographer, but we like you. We'd love to have you come do video. And in that case, I usually convert my bottom photography only packages to just be video packages. And then there are 2 more benefits to shooting video. The one is that you can no longer be really compared directly to anyone else in your town. A lot of other people are likely subcontracting video, so their video is going to be very inconsistent. And it's also very stressful to manage a subcontractor. Whereas if you're doing both and you're in control of both, you are delivering a consistent product that people are going to love. And you can tell them that in your marketing, that that's probably what's going on. If they're trying to compare you to somebody else, that make sure that other person is actually doing the photography and video themselves. Because quality wise, if they hire someone that's amazing, they shoot a video and they use that as a sample video of a wedding that they shot, and then they hire someone else for the wedding day, the quality is going to be kind of up and down. And then the last thing I think is the most important, that doing photo video coverage makes my couples so happy. I can't even, my photography was always great. People were always very, very happy with the final gallery. But when I started offering video, it unlocks emotion in an entirely different level. And sending them that full, complete package of photography and video that complement one another is really just honestly the best thing that you can do for your couple. A lot of couples, it's probably their first time getting married. They don't really know what to do. And a lot of them know that they need photography. And a lot of them have a friend that was like, I wish we would have got video. And that's kind of what they base it on. So as a hybrid photo video creator, you kind of fit in that center slot of that the couple, maybe they don't want a full video team, either for the fact that too many cameras, too many people on the day, or because the budget just isn't there. But you fit into kind of that middle slot where you can do a pretty good job of making a video that they're going to be very, very happy with. But you're also not going to introduce a lot of friction in terms of more people coming or in terms of the cost. So if you're interested in doing more hybrid coverage, the hybrid course, there's a link in the description here. It is everything that I know about doing photo video coverage, and it's kind of a full walkthrough from start to finish. So if you've never done video, it is probably a time to at least get a little bit curious about it. See if it fits you. If it doesn't fit you and you just don't connect with doing video, don't make it part of your business. Don't make a business that you dread doing. But if it does sound interesting to you, by all means, check out that course. The other benefit is by doing wedding days, it's kind of the same as wedding photography, that you do all kinds of different genres of photography, which means when you get your video skills, you can now do pretty much any commercial video. So if a restaurant contacts you or a local business of some sort, you can very easily go and do a video for them, or do Instagram Reels and do that recurring subscription style content model. There's a course on the members website about that as well. And if you're, so there's, I guess, 2 options to get the hybrid course. The one is to buy it straight out and you get the bundle deal. The other is if you sign up to be a member for the annual subscription, you actually will get access to that content creation course as well. And it's pretty much just going out to a business and setting up a weekly or a monthly deal. Usually I would say for something like a restaurant or a small business, you're probably going to be doing a monthly thing. And you show up, you just shoot all their photography and all their video content for social media for that month. And if you want to step it up, and I know a lot of people that have gone through the course have actually done this, you can also manage the social media for that business as well. Since you're creating all the content, it's very easy for you to take over their Instagram. And that can easily become a second channel of money making for your business, whether you manage it all or maybe your partner does, or you bring in an actual partner to manage that side of things, or you subcontract it to a social media management company. There are a lot of options and a lot of ways to make money with that. The massive benefit is it is recurring income for you, that every month you know that you're going to have those 5 jobs and you're at least going to be making a couple $1,000s, which takes the pressure off those months that you're just not booking any weddings, that just no inquiries are coming in. We all know weddings kind of flow throughout the year, that maybe for 2 months you won't get a whole lot of inquiries, and then all of a sudden in June you book 15, 20 weddings all within a couple of weeks. And to manage the uncertainty and the stress of that, it is much easier to have something that is recurring. So if you're able to work with those companies, I think that it is a massive, massive benefit to both your mental health and also your bank account health. Thanks for listening. If you're interested, get in on one of those first bundle deals. And I'll be doing a lot of hybrid content, I think, over the next couple of months. I think that it's definitely something that looking at into this summer, at least the summer in the Northern Hemisphere, looking into this summer, it is something that you should definitely be considering, I think. And again, if it agrees with you and you think that this could be fun and a fun creative challenge, by all means, go down this road. If you're just feeling a very harsh disconnect, kind of the disconnect that maybe we all felt when we had to go from photography to reels on Instagram. If you're feeling that, then maybe don't worry too much about this, but it is something to keep in the back of your mind that I think that it is a very, very legitimate business opportunity. And I do think that photography and video in the wedding space are starting to converge. And a small team of 1 or 2 people doing both is at least the future that I'm seeing locally where I live. So yeah, that's all. I am off to Glasgow with Thrive. And I guess I'll see you there if you're in Glasgow. And if not, then I'll see you another time. We're also doing, Focal has a new Banff trip that they've just announced. So if you're interested, head on over to bookfocal.com. And I think that there will be details up in the top header. And we have 2 very exciting speakers already lined up. And I think one more that will be announced soon. So it will be a very, very cool time. Come to Banff. If you saw any of the video content from last year or any of the photography content, it's going to be a really, really cool experience. Or if you'd like a last minute trip to Hawaii, May 1st and 2nd with a bonus day on April 30th, I believe, you can come and hang out with us in Maui, Hawaii, and do just a bunch of portfolio shoots. Stylists out there, it's all going to look beautiful. Get to come hang out in the Hawaii weather. So if you're anywhere near there, maybe consider it. And that's all for today. Thanks for listening. And I will see you again next Monday.